Love is our true divine nature, and our heart serves as the intersection of the spiritual and physical, connecting our soul with our body as the conduit for anchoring our divinity onto the earth plane. Embodying our divinity is the key to our ascension and to manifesting our highest destiny in this life. The teachings of the heart are alchemy. Join spiritual mentor and channel Jennifer Spohr each week on a sacred journey to lift the veil to remembering your divinity and meet other beautiful souls who are living the path of the awakened heart. Hi, everyone. I am thrilled to welcome as a guest to our show today. I wanted to hesitate there. Ashana. I'm really excited to have her here and to have this conversation. I love her energy so much. Ashana is one of the premier healing music artists and new age vocalists of our time, weaving together soaring angelic vocals and the celestial sound of alchemy crystal singing bowls. I am going to let her tell you all about the magical work that she's doing and her journey. Welcome, Ashana.
Hi, Jennifer. Thanks for having me. It's wonderful to be here.
Yes, so wonderful to have you. Yeah, I'd love for you to share with us more about your journey, around what led you to this work.
Well, it was actually one of those beautiful fortuitous moments in your life, where you're just kind of tootling along, doing what you do, and what I was doing, which had been going on for years and years, and that was being a professional musician and wanting to create my music. I was conducting choirs, I was playing music, I was singing, I was teaching, all of that was happening. And one day I got a phone call from a dear friend of mine and mentor. And she said to me, have you ever heard of crystal singing bowls? And I said, no. And she says, this is right up your alley. So I literally, sight unseen, I just ordered one immediately. And about 3 weeks later, this gigantic box arrived. This is back in like 1998, 99. This is way before sound healing was trending. It was way before sound healing was even in anyone's vocabulary, right? So I was literally at the forefront of this movement, which is now a movement. It's kind of the same way when yoga was being introduced to the West, and there were just your people just slowly gathering from the 1930s to really the 2000s, where it took that long for that momentum to gather. Well, this is what was happening in sound healing. So back to the story, back in about 1999, this bowl appears, and it was a classic frosted, so these are the big white ones that most people are familiar with, and it was in this giant box because it was a big 14-inch bowl. And I took it out, put it on my kitchen table, and I grabbed the mallet, which looked something like this one, and I tapped the side of the bowl gently, and I immediately burst into tears and started crying. And I tell this story all the time, and it never ceases to awe me and inspire me when I say it. But the moment I tapped the side of the bowl, this surge of emotion came out of me, and I heard this thought that said that light had come to live in my house.
Oh
And
my
then the
gosh, I'm like getting emotional right now listening to
I
that.
know. And that's exactly what happened. I mean, I get it's all teary-eyed when I even say it. And then the next thought that I had was literally one day I am going to put these into music.
Yeah.
Because for years and years and years, I knew I was going to be a recording artist. I was going to making at that time, making CDs at the time. I was going to be touring, and I didn't know how that was going to look. I had no idea. And so I got this bowl, and I was so taken with it that 3 weeks later, I had 7. You know, I had one for every note in the C major scale in music. And for the next 2 years, I went about doing what people are now calling sound baths. You know, we didn't even have that language. That word didn't exist. But I was just okay. I would show up anywhere, with my bowls, and I would just play them, and I would lead meditations, and I would do these sound experiences for people. And I was kind of fumbling along because you have to remember at that time, nobody was teaching this stuff. There was no such thing as a certification in sound healing. All of us at that time, the pioneers in sound healing, we were figuring it out. We were curious, we were explorers, and we still are. I still consider myself very much an explorer. We were just sorting out what these do, and the response that people would have to them. So out of that, about 5 years later, I had the opportunity to meet my producer. I knew it was time. I knew it was time to start incorporating the bowls or making music or creating my first album. I thought it was going to have something to do with bringing the singing bowls in. I mean, I just thought that was something that was going to be incorporated in my music. And so through an incredible synchronization of events, I met my producer, Thomas Barkey, and we went into the studio a few months later and made my first album, which is All Is Forgiven. That's the name of it. And it has literally sold millions and millions of copies worldwide. And this is like an extraordinary thing because the songs on that album are so timeless that even today, this is some 17 years later, 18 years later, that album is a classic. And people are continuing to find it, discover it, and the albums that came afterwards. And so that was just the start. And now I have 8, 9 albums out, and sing all over the place and teach crystal singing bowls and sound healing and offering concerts and experiences and lots of beautiful new projects coming out. So it's just been this, to say it was one of those moments, to return to your question, where you come to this intersection in your life. And I don't know if anybody saw that movie, The Adjustment Bureau. It was an absolutely amazing movie with Matt Damon, and anyway, check it out
I've
because it's
seen it
brilliant.
actually. Yeah.
So this was an adjustment
Yeah.
movie. So it was like I was going along, and I thought my path was looking like this, and all of a sudden, it went like that, and it was, here you are. That's your destiny. Go. And it was my destiny, and it continues to be the fulfillment of that soul-driven plan.
So inspirational, and I am going to have to listen to that album. I have not, and I really related to some of what you were sharing. I've been on my own path and in my own business for a while, but I very recently, I mean, a few months ago, started taking voice lessons because,
Oh, yeah, you.
yeah, because I was feeling like there was something more, and I've started working with, I do a lot of grid work with the land and everything, and sometimes I'll just sit outside with the land and just naturally you want to sing or express
Mhm,
yourself, your body, vocally,
mhm.
physically. And um when we both got emotional, it made me think about that, because that's what's been happening as I've been doing these voice lessons. Like, the more my voice or my throat opens up there, it's very emotional. Like, there's a lot that
Yeah.
comes forward around it.
Yeah, there is a lot locked up in the voice. I believe for almost all humans, and particularly for women. There is it's almost, it's not almost, there is a chronic state of women not feeling safe enough to speak up, to express ourselves, to ask for what we want or
Mhm.
what we need, and to ask to express what we see, what we feel, um, our soul's desire, our heart's desire. And when this is just kept closed in, right? And it just gets sublimated and sublimated and sublimated and sublimated. And then we think that that's the way things are. That's all we can have. That's as far as we can go. It's the limitation on the throat chakra and our ability to creatively, spontaneously express ourselves has huge impact
Mhm.
on our health, on our well-being, on our psyche, on our spiritual connection. And so I love that you said this. I love that you trusted yourself enough to pursue opening up your voice and being able to sit on the earth, to sit on the land and give expression, that to be in communion, in vocal communion with nature. It's huge and it's so needed. It's so needed.
Yeah, I knew there was something more. And I mean, I teach in intuitive development and and Akashic records. And so I'm all about, list living day to day, seeking to listen to that guidance, right?
Mhm.
But there's just been so much more that's opened up even after making the decision to do that. My initial reason was, because I have my own podcast, I speak a lot,
Mhm.
in my work that I do. And just after I started singing regularly, you just realize there's just more and more and more. It's like
Mhm.
our entire ascension journey here. There's just always more and different stages, and each stage is more expansive and
Yes.
deeper, I find,
Yeah.
in expression.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I find that too. I've been singing ever since I was a little girl. I mean, I kind of was unstoppable in that. And the more I sing, the more open and expansive I feel and experience myself. And the more connected I feel, the calmer I am. There's self-soothing with vocalization, uh, in any way that you do it, whether it's humming, whether it's chanting mantra, whether it's toning, whether it's singing along with your favorite songs on as you're streaming. All of that is so nourishing for the body. And as you begin to open up the throat chakra, then you find yourself, it just as you said, that expression can start finding its way into every part of your life. One of my students is a professional musician in London, and not a singer. And she plays an instrument where keeps her body kind of closed in.
Mhm.
And we started working together to kind of open up the space, open up her body. And I started working with her with chanting, with her crystal singing bowls. And the next time I saw her after the session, the words, actually, I'm quoting her, the word she said to me is, Ashana, you have unleashed the dragon.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing.
It was, I know, isn't that amazing? And
Yes.
she was able to start speaking to her partner about what she was feeling and
Mhm.
what she needed. And it was like that place. There was another one of those teas that happened in her life. As soon as that happened, he started listening to her and giving her what she needed, the level of support that she needed in her life, because she was able to ask for it. But if we don't know how to ask for it, or we feel blocked or contained in this, in our throat, in our expression, then we actually are part of limiting ourselves.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm all for everybody singing.
Let's all sing.
I was doing that before we got on here. I was like, I grabbed one of my therapy harps and some bowls, and I was like, oh, let's just sing and 5 minutes, really, seriously, 5 minutes of that. And my whole body was like, yeah, it's a great day. It was like that
Blissful.
kind of feeling. Yeah, it just moves, it eventually moves into bliss. I mean, many, many times I feel that, but it can simply move into just, oh, that place where you feel happy, or you just move the dial, move the needle, just like goes, wow, we just like, oh, a little bit higher, a little bit fuller, a little happier, a little lighter, and
Yes.
that 5 minutes can do that, seriously.
Yes.
Everybody has 5 minutes, right?
Totally. I mean, and I want to say too, your joy and passion for what you're sharing really shines through.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Yeah, it really does. I'd love to back up a little bit earlier when you were sharing your story and you shared about when you were first introduced to,
Mm-hmm.
and you received your initial crystal bowl. Uh,
Yeah.
we are in a constant state of change and evolution, and especially as an entrepreneur or someone, who's working independently, doing their work in the world, a lot of people, it's hard for them to come out from under that programming of feeling scared, right? It's like, I'm being called to this and I know I am,
Mm-hmm.
and so how do I make that move? They kind of, we can get in our own way, that human part of us. What would your advice be for those people who are being called to that next evolution to embrace it with
Mm-hmm.
more ease and grace?
I say the same thing. Just follow the breadcrumbs.
Hmm.
You take one step at a time because it's daunting. So here you go. Oh, I'm terrified. There's the big there's the big picture. I can see it. I see myself doing X, Y, and Z, whatever that X, Y, and Z is. You want to be a master gardener. You want to be this like crazy computer program. You want to write a book. You want to make an album. You want to, own a restaurant. You want to manage a restaurant, whatever that is, because for all of us, it's totally different, right? And then we go, oh my God, but it's so far. It's not about the how far it is. I know I can say this upon hindsight and reflection. I held on to that dream, that vision. There was an intuitive part of me in my knowingness. I said, I am going to make an album. I'm going to be touring. I'm going to be a world renowned musician and artist. I felt it from the time I was, probably in my 20s. I had that sensation. And at the same time, I didn't know what that was going to look like. And I just kept following the breadcrumbs. So something would come to me, an inspiration. I love the word an impulse. You have a thought, you have an impulse. It says, do this, go here, call so and so. Oh, that looks like an interesting class to take. Oh, I'd love to learn this. And you're going along, and in the meantime, your dream seems like it's way over here. And you go, yeah, but I'm only here. Well, don't worry about this. Follow the impulse, follow the breadcrumbs. Take one step at a time, one step at a time, one step at a time. Because the miraculous part truly is in the journey.
Hmm.
I did so many things that in the moment, I absolutely did not in any way, shape, or form see as connected to what I am doing now. Didn't make any sense that they were connected with my first album. Didn't make any sense that they were connected with the programs I teach now. Didn't make any sense. I wasn't even thinking about those things. They didn't even exist at that point in time. But there were these little steps that said, I need to take that class. So I'll give you a really succinct example of this. So back in my other life, before Ashana the musician and artist. I was working as a secretary, part-time, not full-time, and I was doing my music on the side. I was living in New York City. And I got a brochure for a class called Orff-Schulwerk. And this was learning to teach elementary music, music to elementary school children. And I looked at that and I said, I need to go to that class. So I did. And I took 1 year of training in doing this. And then I decided I was moving. I was living in New York City. I moved to Santa Fe, New Mexico. What happened? I got a job teaching elementary music to young children. And in one of those classes, the people said to me, oh, can you teach preschoolers? And I was like, no, I was trained to teach elementary, but let me find out. So I took another class. Well, it ended up I took this class called Music Together, and I started a Music Together business in Los Alamos, New Mexico, which I taught for about 7 years. And I learned so much during that time and that experience. And I sold my business and I made my first album, All Is Forgiven. Who knew? Back working for UNICEF, the United Nations, as a secretary, 7, 10, whatever it was, I don't remember how many years prior to that, that I was going to take that goofy class in elementary music, which was going to lead me to running my own business as a music teacher, which was going to lead me to selling that business, which was going to lead me to exactly where my soul had said it was going to be when I was in my 20s. So you just
Synchronicity.
synchronicity, but also listening to the impulses of your
Yeah.
soul. It's huge. It makes a huge difference because we have these impulses every day. Call so-and-so, sit down and do thus and such, write an email, take this class, pay attention to this, sit down and meditate, go dancing,
Yeah.
start to write, journal.
Take voice lessons.
Take voice lessons. Exactly. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Take voice lessons. Oh my God. Sit and sing on the earth.
Yeah. I'm so glad that you shared that story the way that you did, because you articulate so beautifully the steps, each one of those crumbs, as you were saying, right? And how it came about, and you listened to it and you followed it. And that's exactly how it works. But we, through the amazing gift of our free will, right, have to choose that.
We do. We do. And we also, and I think sometimes we get stuck with um, trying to control how that trying to control the outcome
Yeah.
and what it looks like. Because if I had gone, well, my first album is supposed to be, this kind of music, and I'm going to be a singer-songwriter, and I'm going to go around doing this and this and this, you know, and and every time I tried doing that, I seriously, because I tried doing that, I went down that road, it would go like, and just kind of come up to it, and there would be resistance, there would be a wall, there would be a something, and it wasn't quite me. It didn't quite, that whole pathway never really lined up with my soul. Now the parts of doing that
Mm-hmm.
were amazing. I learned so much. I learned I learned how to be a recording artist. I learned my way around the studio. I learned the craft of songwriting. I learned, but was that the genre? Were those the genres I was supposed to be in? Singing pop and jazz or classical or this? And believe me, I explored all of them. It wasn't. And I will never forget the phone conversation with my producer. The first time we were on the phone talking to each other, and he had listened to the demos I had sent him. And he said to me, Ashana, if I was your producer, I'd put you into healing music. And I was like, what? Because I'm like, I do all this. And he was like, a lot of people do, that kind of stuff. But I had sent him a demo of me doing an improvisation with the crystal
Mm.
singing. And he was like, OMG. this is because of course nobody was doing that, right?
Yeah,
This is
right, yeah.
people playing and writing and singing, exploring. Nobody was doing that at the time. Now, a lot of people are bringing the bowls in and recording, doing
Well,
stuff.
you're a way shower.
I am,
You
but
are. Yeah.
nobody was doing that at the time. Zero, maybe like one or two people that I know of, and they happen to be my friends, so I know who they are. But no one was doing that. And he said that, and I was like, okay. And sure enough, it's that music. We were so ahead of our time, Thomas and I, that it's taken almost 20 years for everybody else to catch up to where we started and,
Mhm.
and where we walked in. So, but I just listened to the impulses. I totally trusted him. I trusted him implicitly. And he said, do this, let's do this. And I'm like, I'm in, I'm game, let's go. And of course, all the background that I had in recording, in singing classical music, in the years I spent as a vocalist and a professional church musician, singing in cathedrals, in all kinds of
Mhm.
beautiful, exquisite cathedrals, and having that, you know, decades of experience singing early music, from medieval music to Renaissance music for years as a professional musician in New York City. And it all piled itself in to the music that I do now. And who knew back then, that, Elizabethan music, the influence of Elizabethan and medieval and Renaissance music would find its way
Yeah,
into my improvisations, which would end up touching people's hearts everywhere.
yeah.
Who?
Your journey is such a wonderful and beautiful example of following those synchronicities, right? Listening to your heart, following your soul's guidance. I love it so much. I could talk to you for days. Ashana,
Yes.
in closing, what else are you feeling intuitively guided to share?
Well, if it's okay with you, I would love to share about this new program that we're
Yeah,
coming out, because I am so excited about it. We've been beta testing it, and the results are absolutely amazing. This is a program that I've been nurturing. It's a passion project of mine. It's called Celestial Alignment for Healing. It is a way, we brought together healing music and guided teaching and videos and music, mind movies in this 7-week online program, which is getting ready to launch very, very soon. And we have been testing it and watching what's happening for people with chronic illnesses. I mean, we have some pretty dramatic stories about people with serious illness or depression and anxiety, all kinds of stuff, mental stuff, emotional stuff. They get to about week 3, week 4 of the program, and all of a sudden things start changing. We've had people coming off medications, obviously working with their doctors, but they moving off medications, then shifting from depression to joy. I mean, that was like a huge one, me watching
yeah,
two or three people make that change. People going through major illnesses, making shifts in the way that they approached the illness and approached their own healing journey on that. It's just been absolutely astonishing to watch. And so we are launching this program soon. Again, it's Celestial Alignment for Healing. And what we want to offer your audience, when I say we, it's my team and I, where I am offering your audience the leading meditation from this course, as my gift to everybody that's listening today. So all you'll need to do is just follow the link. I'm sure you're going to put it there, and you just like pop your name in, and you're going to have the experience of, we call the golden light of healing meditation. It's remarkable. So I just want to invite everybody to come on into my universe, and explore the music, explore what we have to give you.
yes. That's wonderful. Yes, we will have all the information for that in the show notes for this episode. And I will be coming into your universe and listening to your meditation. I absolutely loved our conversation today. Ashana, is there anywhere else that you would like to direct folks who are feeling guided to connect with you further?
Yes, you can absolutely find me on my website, which is soundofashana.com. And you can find us on Facebook and find me on Facebook and Instagram. Go hang out on the YouTube channel. There is so much there. We've got amazing videos and all kinds of fun stuff around for everybody. So, and if you're interested in the world of the alchemy crystal singing bowls, or the beautiful world of the therapy harps or sung music, I mean, this is the place to be.
Beautiful. So beautiful. What a blessing. What an honor to speak with you today. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome, Jennifer. Thank you for having me. Many blessings and keep singing.
Thank you for listening to Path of the Awakened Heart. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or pathoftheawakenedheart.com so you never miss an episode. To learn more about living with an awakened heart and navigating your ascension journey, visit me at jenniferspore.com.